L.A. Sheriff's deputies spent several hours today chasing one of their own vehicles. The pursuit started when a woman drove off in a deputy's black and white SUV. The deputy had left the vehicle running. She eventually gave up when police used spike strips to stop her. Well, off the streets and in the hills above the South Bay, there is a different chase. A state fish and game warden who was shot during a raid on a pot farm is now telling his story for the very first time. His ordeal is part of a growing concern over hidden drug dens. Ethan Harp tonight with a story you'll only see on NBC 11.
An extraordinary rescue watched by television viewers all over the Bay Area. A state fish and game warden shot in both legs during a raid on a marijuana grow hidden deep in the woods. Rugged, remote territory, yet just a few miles as the crow flies from Los Gatos. Dangling in that stretcher below the helicopter, 26-year-old Kyle Kroll, just 3 years on the job.
Did you ever worry this was it?
Yeah, a couple times I knew that where it was hit.
Now, back at work, but still feeling the effects with every step he takes, Kroll is sharing with NBC 11 News what he went through on that August morning. While he had the strength to wave as he was being brought to safety and help, things were much different in the moments just after he was wounded. It is deadly serious business, a battle between those who run marijuana farms and those fighting to stop them. If these wardens look more like soldiers, that's not by accident. For them, a simple trek through the hills comes with the risk of walking straight into jungle-like combat.
Besides the obvious danger faced by people like Kyle Kroll, there are the not-so-obvious threats that worry fish and game wardens as well.
And that's why everything was dead in this channel for the better part of 5 or 6 miles.
Kroll and his veteran partner John Norse showed us up close the environmental damage left behind months and years later. Here in the hills above Gilroy, this tributary of Coyote Creek was contaminated. Even now, pieces of tubing can be found in the water.
All of this was full of pollutants, such as pesticide fertilizer mixed directly in the creek itself in large pools and then being pumped into the grow.
2 years after this farm was discovered, trees still show their scars.
Plants anywhere between 4 and 8 feet tall.
Down the way, yet another farm is still littered with hose line, binoculars, a flashlight, and a scope for a rifle. Just like the spot where Kroll was hit, this sits less than 5 miles from homes and businesses.
A lot of times you see marijuana kind of at the bottom of scale of severity or importance. Whether you look at it as a war on drugs, I really look at it as a war, against wildlife crime from our standpoint. It isn't victimless.
Few know that better than Kyle Kroll. He was part of a team moving in on a pot farm at the foot of the Santa Cruz Mountains near the eastern slopes of Mount Amanum.
Hiking through the brush and into the wilderness like this, and full camouflage, and with our tactical rifles and all our gear. And we moved into the grow, and that's when the shooting began soon after that.
The shot pierced both his legs with devastating results.
Pretty massive. I'd say you could probably set a grapefruit easily in the hole in the inner thigh here.
Kroll's rescue came only after 3 excruciating hours of waiting. While his fellow officers had returned fire, killing one gunman right away, another gunman was still on the loose. The area was too dangerous for an airlift.
What was the hardest part of those 3 hours?
I'm trying to fight off the shock, most definitely, because it took just gritting your teeth together, using every bit of energy to try and fight off the shock. It's like nothing else I can ever explain. You can't put it into words how hard it is to try and fight the shock off.
At about the 2.5 hour mark, we were starting to get worried because Kyle was changing. He was getting tired. It was hard to fight up that long.
John Norse was right next to him.
Losing a new young warden, as motivated and fired up and good-hearted as Kyle is just something I never want to have to face.
Kyle Kroll's recovery had taken months. He didn't return to work until January. Work that is only expanding as more and more pot farms sprout up in the hills of Santa Clara County. He says he never thought twice about suiting up and roaming these hills again.
Just want to get back out there and just get as close to normal as I was before is my ultimate goal.
Trying to bring down the farms before they ever get off the ground. Ethan Harp, NBC 11 News.
The second gunman was never found. It's believed both growers were Mexican nationals.